What up, Com 602? Luke again. Hopefully, I'm not the only one doing a video response, but I guess we'll see. So, first things first, what is the role and purpose of counseling? I reflecting on this, I think ultimately counseling is basically something that helps clients and people get guided through their problems and overall improve their mental health. I think a counselor fulfills this in a bunch of ways, especially in the sense of the counselor is ultimately the advocate for the client. The counselor is a confidant of the client. They're an individual that the client can talk to almost about anything. It doesn't affect them. It's not sure with their people. So that space is a really good nurturing environment for growth and to work through any issues. So ultimately, bare bones counseling is to help people through their problems and just, you know, make them feel better. And how we understand it means to be human. I think to be human is to be flawed. I think people are shaped by their experiences, thoughts, emotions, relationships. No one is perfect, and that's fine. I think we all have our struggles, our demons, and sometimes we know about them, and sometimes we don't. So I think to be human is to connect, strive to really like to live and not just survive, but to like kind of like live life. What is mental health and illness? Mental health to me refers to a person's emotional, like psychological and social well-being. I think it affects how people feel, how they behave, and also like how stress and other outside factors impact their lives and helps them make decisions. So I think when it comes to mental illness are more conditions that disrupt that mental health, right? So, and it's on a sliding scale too, kind of like I think being physically ill. So, like, there's mild mental illness, such as like being depressed or anxious, but then there's another side to that. It's more extreme. Like, there's schizophrenia and PTSD, more like not dire, but more extreme cases of mental illness that need more to address it, right? So that's kind of like what I bare bones what I think mental health and illness is. The role of culture in mental health and counseling. Counseling is a very people oriented practice, and so I think to be culturally aware is to be very. It's that let me phrase that. A clients are focused, right? And so having an understanding of our clients' cultural background and how they were raised and their dynamics in their family and their religion, those are huge factors to like consider when you have a client. And so even then, like different theories like have distinct approaches to like other ethnic ethnic backgrounds than others. So to be culturally sensitive is really to like be client sensitive. I think everyone has a background in different conditions that aren't our own. So I think it's important that we don't take our experiences and our values and we try to really see it through the eyes of the client. They're the professional in their lives, right? What excites me most about the evolving role of counselors? I think society's a lot more pro mental health. I think it's a lot more accessible too with insurance and also with the option of telehealth. I don't think it's stigmatized. I think people seem to see counselors more as a resource. I think people are talking about it more casually. And then where do I think counseling will go in the next few years? I know AI is the big thing right now, and I know there's a lot of AI note taking software, which I think could be helpful. Um, I've seen that personally. I think it's really good at summarizing things and can like text things, especially as we're like as counselors are assessing and talking with their clients. I do see like an extreme of it though. Like I do see that like the reason why AI is so huge is because of like cost and accessibility. It's really cheap in the long run to like use AI models, and people seem to be depending on them more. And I can see some guy coming along and saying, there's not enough counselors in this field and not enough people getting help. We should develop an AI model to, be a counselor. We know what counselors, techniques they use, what, ethics they need to abide by, what to consider. Like we can create that, right? And I can just see something where you pay like 10, $20 a month and you have your own personal AI counselor, right? I mean, technology is at the point where like I use a program for note taking that Google has, and I can upload like a chapter, and it can summarize into a podcast. And the people sound really realistic. And I can ask them that AI questions, and they'll answer it. So technology is only getting better, and I can see technology really benefiting counseling in the long haul, especially when it comes to accessibility and note taking and making sure things are considered well with the client. But I can also see it taking like a bad turn too. So I that's where I can see counseling going.